but there's nothing like the aromas that fill the kitchen when there's fresh baked bread in the oven. Hi, Michelle here with the Traveling Epicurean. Today I'm going to show you how to make easy icebox dinner rolls. We're going to dredge them in some freshly chopped rosemary and green onion that just accentuates those wonderful aromas. You're going to love this recipe, and you can make it 4 days ahead of time. Come on over here, I'll show you what we're going to need to get this going. This is what we're going to need to make our easy icebox dinner rolls. We have 4½ cups of flour. We have 3 eggs. I have an extra egg here for the egg wash. We have 2 packets of active dry yeast, not the rapid rise, just the regular. We have a stick of butter that goes into the dough, and then a ½ a stick of butter that gets smeared on the baking tray. We have a teaspoon of salt, a ½ a cup of sugar, fresh rosemary, and 2 bunches of green onion, and we're going to dice those up. All right, let's get activating these yeast packets, and we're going to put them right in our mixing bowl right here with a cup of warm water. It's got to be between 105 and 110 degrees. So I'm going to get that right now. So a little trick is I heat up this stainless steel bowl just a little bit. I pour some hot water in it, pour the hot water out, and then I add our cup of hot water that's between 105 and 110 degrees. You got to have it at the right temperature. It's not going to help the yeast out very much if you don't. It won't activate the yeast properly if it's too cold, and if it's too hot, it's going to kill the yeast, so that could be a big problem too. I'm going to put both of these packets right into the water that I put into our bowl here, our mixing bowl. We're going to let that activate for about 5 minutes, and we're going to put some of the sugar, just like a teaspoon of the sugar, because the yeast feeds off of the sugar. So that's going to help it get foamy and start to activate as well. There we go. We're going to leave this for 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start adding our other ingredients. This is so exciting. Wait till you see the foaming yeast. It's absolutely gorgeous. You're going to have to come over here and take a peek at this. Come on over. Look how foamy and gorgeous that yeast is. Absolutely beautiful. I have our mixing attachment on there. I'm going to slowly turn this on. I'm going to add the eggs, the sugar, the butter, and the salt, and then we're going to add about a cup of flour, or ½ a cup of flour at a time, and start mixing that in as well. It's going to be really quick. All right, so here come the eggs. Comes the butter. Make sure the butter's not too hot. We don't want to kill the yeast. Then we have our sugar, and then our salt, and I'm going to start adding in the flour a little at a time. You just want it fully combined. You don't have to worry about the kneading. That's it. I'm going to put this down on a floured counter. Alrighty, look at this. This dough looks so amazing. The color's really beautiful. I'm going to get this onto a floured counter here. You know, I have a friend I gave this recipe to. Well, a lot of people have this recipe now through my website, but I gave this to her, and you'll see her on my website recipe page, my friend Laura. I gave this to her, I think, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and it's become a staple at her holiday, her Thanksgiving holiday gathering. Everyone just loves her rolls, and it's this recipe here. I'm having to read the pictures. That's what you'll see on the recipe page. That's her picture on there. I appreciate her loving these rolls. All right, so look. We really don't need to even knead it, but look how it has the elasticity that it needs. Smells amazing. I just love that yeasty smell. I've only put a little bit of flour down on the counter. It looks fantastic. We're going to put it into the refrigerator for 2 hours, up to 4 days. It's a total make-ahead project. 10 minutes, and then we'll spend another 10 minutes when we take it out of the fridge to roll them in some freshly chopped rosemary and green onion to form the rolls and put them on a little baking tray. I can't wait to do that and show you how it's done. Let's get this in the fridge. Just a simple Ziploc. I take out the air as much as possible. There we go. Into the fridge it goes. Hi guys, we're back. The dough has been in the refrigerator for 2 days, our Icebox dinner roll dough. And I'm going to chop up some green onions and some rosemary, and we are going to start forming our rolls. The reason I love this recipe is because you can put it in the fridge for 4 days. I mean, that's pretty nice to be able to do that when you're throwing a dinner party. Anytime you can get the work done ahead of time and make life easier so you can enjoy your guests, that's really key. All right, I'm gonna put them all in the same bowl because we're just gonna form the rolls and then we're gonna dredge them in these fresh herbs, and they are gonna be really, really good. Now you can put these rolls into the buttered pan and let them rise right away. But I mean, a lot of times if you're throwing a party, you just don't have time to be doing that. So what I do is I finish chopping all the herbs, form the rolls, put them in the butter pan. I put the tray, this tray that we're gonna butter, put it back into the refrigerator, go about my other errands or tasks that I have to get done, and then an hour and a half before we're gonna knead the rolls, I take them out of the refrigerator and I let them rise on the counter. And I think that's the best way to go about doing this. The rosemary, we're just gonna pull back the little leaves and pull them off of our stem here. It's a little bit easier when you're doing thyme, which you could also do thyme in here. You can get creative and do other herbs. I don't like to put the stem in there because it's too thick. So I'm just gonna try and pull off all these tender rosemary leaves. I love these rosemary leaves. What was great about living in California is they have bushes, rosemary bushes everywhere. So you never ever had to buy rosemary. It was really quite wonderful. You could just step outside and grab a branch from a bush on the corner. Can't get any better than that. This smells really nice. I love the smell of fresh rosemary. And we're just gonna finally chop these and add them to our green onion. And then I'm gonna put some flour down and we're gonna start dredging and rolling the dough. I'm gonna cut it up into sections first, so I know I have 24 rolls. And you'll see how I do that in a minute. So now we have all of our rosemary. I'm just going to add it directly to our chopped up green onion here. And then we'll give it a little bit of a toss to combine everything. I do also put in the whites to the green onions because it has a lot of flavor and they get really sweet and delicious when they cook in the oven, when they bake. So that's going to be really lovely. Before I start putting the flour on the counter, I'm going to take this room temperature butter. It's still in its wrapper. I find that that's the easiest way to do this. And I'm going to open it up and then I'm just going to start rubbing it back and forth on my baking pan. This way it's going to give a nice coating. All right. Such an easy way to smear the butter onto the pan. All right. All right, that looks pretty great. It has a nice coating of butter on there. I'm going to set that aside. Wipe off my hands a little bit and get this incredible dough. This looks really beautiful. I love that. Look how gorgeous this is. Really, really pretty. Icebox dough. Okay, so we're gonna put down a little bit of flour. This is the fun part. I'm gonna cut this into 4s, and then each 4 I'm gonna cut into 6s, and that's how we're gonna get our 24 rolls. All right, so look what we get going on here. We have 4 sections. I'm trying to make them so they're even. I mean, they don't have to be perfect, really. And then cutting each quartered section into 2s, just like that. And then each one of these into 3, right? So simple. This is why I love doing this the morning of the party. This way you can get a little bit messy and then clean up, right? And then you don't have to deal with it later. And you could just have fun. That's what it's all about, right? All right, so in the middle, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna keep some plain, and then the rest I'm gonna put with herbs. And I'm just gonna sprinkle them right on the counter here, just like that. And now I'm gonna dredge them in all these herbs. Look how beautiful that is, right? Roll them a little bit, and then we're gonna place them on our cooking tray. I just smush them right into the herbs. And they're gonna bake and be so savory and delicious with all that sweet onion and rosemary flavor. The only problem you're gonna have making these rolls is that if you make them for a holiday, people are gonna come back the next year and they're gonna expect you to have these dinner rolls again because they're gonna remember them. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. It's happened to everybody who's made these rolls. That's kind of fun, isn't it? That's how traditions are made. Placing them on the tray. Aren't they beautiful? And they don't have to be perfect because these are gonna start to rise and the dough's gonna expand and then they just form and fall into a perfect shape all by themselves. All right, here we go. That's looking really pretty. I'm gonna get some saran wrap over this. I'm gonna put 2 layers on there. These look so pretty. I cannot wait to bake them. Those look really gorgeous. Let's get these in the refrigerator. I'm gonna go out and do some errands, and then when we come back, we're gonna put these in the oven. See you in a little bit. Look how beautiful these rolls got. Absolutely gorgeous. It's actually been 2 hours because my house is a little on the cool side because I was out, so it's about 65 degrees. So I needed to let them rise just a little bit longer. I put them near the fireplace and that kind of helped it as well. They've doubled in size, and I have an egg wash. It's just like an egg in about a teaspoon of water. And this is gonna give it a little bit of a shine. So I'm just gonna go over them. You can actually make it even shinier if you let this dry a pinch and then do a second coating. I'm just gonna keep going over all of them. Have enough of a coating so they get that glossy shine. All right, that looks fantastic. Into the oven they go. Wow, these look absolutely fantastic. These Icebox dinner rolls look so incredibly good. I did keep them in there a little bit longer, about 5 minutes. I think it's because the house is a little bit cold. And your atmosphere can definitely, you know, change the amount of time that you bake them for, so just keep an eye on them. I like them golden like this. See the nice shine that the egg wash gave them? So I'm gonna cut one of these rolls open for you. Oh my goodness, look at the texture inside. Absolutely delicious. I have a little bit of butter. Oh, it looks heavenly. Really, really good. I'm gonna have to have a bite of this right now. Wow, you're gonna love these rolls. Just to die for. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait for you to make the scrumptious Icebox dinner rolls. Start your own tradition. Your family and friends are going to thank you. And remember, you can find this recipe at thetravelingepicurean.com. Have a wonderful holiday. Be safe. Ciao.